Shannon, you can put us on. Good morning. This is the matter of Stepp versus Dingy. Mr. Dingy, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. And Ms. Stepp, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Give me just a moment here. So I want to get up to speed here. It's a while since I actually had you folks I know we're scheduled for an evidentiary hearing today. Ms. Stepp, I know you are requesting a change in custody. And I'm just trying to remember, Mr. Dingy, did you also have some complaints that you were being denied parenting time?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, and who actually started this process? Which one of you filed the first motion? Do you remember?
I believe David did.
I did, yes.
Okay, so normally we start with the moving party. So let me do that now. So what I'm going to do is I will give each of you a chance to testify. And after that testimony, I will give an opportunity for asking questions. And then I'll hear from the other side. I don't like it when people interrupt each other. I don't like it when people speak out of turn. I definitely don't like it when I get interrupted. So I like to do things in order. Please be assured that you will get a chance to talk in turn. While you're hearing the other person testify, you will hear things that you want to respond to immediately, but it doesn't work that way. So what I would suggest to you, if you don't already have a pen and paper handy, that you grab something so that you can make notes, so that when it's your turn to testify and I ask you, was there anything that Mr. Dingy said that you'd like to respond to, or was there anything that Ms. Stepp said that you would like to respond to? You'll be able to remember what those things are. So do you each have something in front of you that you can write on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with Mr. Dingy. Mr. Dingy, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, please.
Okay.
You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your full name for the record.
David Allen Dingy Jr.
Okay. So, Mr. Dingy, how many children do you have in common with Ms. Stepp?
1.
What's the child's name?
Laney Jane Dingy.
And how old is Laney?
4.
Is she enrolled in preschool somewhere?
Not as far as I know.
Okay. But obviously isn't ready to start school, kindergarten. When did she turn 4?
The 27th, 1/27/17.
All right, so she's not even going to be ready for kindergarten this coming fall, correct?
Correct.
All right. All right. What is the current custody arrangement with Laney, Mr. Dingy?
Right now, I haven't seen her in almost 5 months. So, I mean, we don't have nothing through the court as of right now.
Well, there's probably a custody order in place. It's just not being followed, is what you're telling me.
Right.
All right, let me make sure. I think I saw, let's see. Yeah, it looks like a custody order was entered back in August of 2019.
Yes, sir.
And it looks like that gave basically equal parenting time.
Correct.
Is that okay? And did you actually follow that custody order for some period of time after it was entered?
Never once. Not to be exact. We didn't follow any order. To be honest, because of her situation she was going through, this and that. I had her probably 90% of the time.
Oh, okay.
Until she straightened out, that is. She says she got off drugs and that, but for 2 years, I mean, 2 years straight, she was on the streets, in aware shelters. And I still proceeded to try to take care of her and stuff like that, stay by her side. But you see where we're at now today. So, yeah.
You're when you say she, you're referring to Miss Step.
Emily Step, yes.
Okay. Well, when you say she, I didn't know if you're talking about Laney
Sorry
or her.
about that.
So
Sorry
right,
about that.
I'm with you. So Laney was with you 90% of the time up until when?
Up until probably about a year ago.
What happened a year ago?
She appeared to start getting her life back on track and got a job and was looking like she was doing pretty good. So then she would start taking her on a regular basis. And then I would watch her. Mostly I'd have her overnight still because she would work in the morning and I would have her through the day. And then she would either come over and see her for a few before she went to work, or then she would pick her up sometimes after work and then, she would spend the night. So.
All right. So up until about a year ago, she was seeing her daughter very little. Beginning a year ago, she started seeing her a lot more by coming over. But still, as of a year ago, Laney was spending most overnights at your house.
Correct.
All right. And for how long a time period did that practice continue?
Couple months probably.
And then how did that change? In what way did it change?
I haven't. She started dating one of my best friends, and everything changed from then on. Like I said, I haven't seen her in almost 5 months.
So up until the time that you stopped seeing, just before that time, okay, 5 months ago, whenever that was,
Right.
what kind of parenting time were you following?
She stayed the night with Emily most of the nights. Like I'm saying, like I'm not trying to get. Okay, so like I stated earlier on, Emily worked most of the time, so I would have her most of the time. She would take her. I'd say I probably had her say 70% of the time overnight. So the rest she would take her.
All right. So what happened 5 months ago that you stopped seeing your daughter? How did that come about? What happened?
Well, I was seeing a girl, and I am now currently still, and she did not like that. And she stated that if I stayed with her, she would make my life a living hell, and I would never see my daughter again. That was the exact word she said.
So she didn't like your new girlfriend. Did did she know your girlfriend
Yes.
previously?
Yes.
Uh, and had the two of them not been friends?
Correct. They were years ago.
All right. So I got the picture now. She's with someone who used to be your best friend. You're with someone who she used to be friends with, and she doesn't appreciate that you're with this person now.
Correct. And I am currently having a kid with my current girlfriend, and she did not like that at the time.
Okay. So I get what changed in terms of your getting a new girlfriend who she didn't like. And I hear what you say. She said she was going to make your life hell and you're not going to see your daughter. Uh, so did it just abruptly come about that she stopped allowing Laney to go to your home?
Well, she came to pick her up one day and asked to use my restroom. And then she was walking out of the restroom, and one of my kids had went in there and had found something on a substance on the countertop. So then I asked her to do a drug test because in the previous paperwork it states if I have suspect that she is under the influence, I can order her to drop, to do a drug test. And she refused. Locked my daughter in the car and proceeded to back out. She left, came back, and started trouble. From that day forward, I haven't seen her, and I barely talked to her.
Do you have a date when that happened?
Somewhere, I believe it's October. I want to say October 7th or 8th, probably.
Okay. So give me just a moment to look back at what you filed. All right, so your actual parenting time complaint says you were denied parenting time beginning on October 7th, so that would be the correct date.
Okay.
All right, so I know when you folks were first before me on the parenting time complaint, I heard allegations by mom that were concerning, if true. And but I also ordered that there should be some contact begin immediately. I ordered supervised parenting time. Has there been any supervised parenting time?
No, I've called and left messages. I've never had a call back or nothing. I've called every day.
Who did you call?
FOC.
So the Family Visitation Center, which is where I referred you back in January, there's a phone number for the Family Visitation Center on that order. You said you've called that number and nobody has responded to you?
Nobody's returned my calls. I've left voicemails with my number. asking for them to call me back every time. Nobody calls me back.
I'm going to take a moment to contact the center if they'll answer the phone. Hold on. Well, I had the same experience that you just described, sir. I got put to extension and to answering machine. I will follow up on that later to find out what went wrong. Okay, let me back up a little bit and ask you some general background stuff. Are you currently employed?
No,
Uh, what what do you live on? I mean, how do you pay
I
your
have
bills?
Social Security.
You're on Social Security disability?
No, just Social Security, and then I just pick up odd jobs here and there.
How old are you?
35.
What are your earnings from or income from Social Security?
795.
$795 a month. Is there any reason you can't work?
No,
You
I
just
have.
choose
I mean,
not to?
I have several. I have cerebral palsy, but it doesn't affect. I mean, it does affect the way I work, but I can still work. Like I said, I do odds and end jobs. You know, hauling away scrap, picking up scrap vehicles, taking those in. I mean, I earn about 800 extra a month on top of what I get.
All right. And where do you currently live?
4047 Briggs Court, Rives Junction, 49277.
And what type of residence is that? Is it a home, apartment?
It's a home,
How many bedrooms in that home?
5.
Do you own or rent that property?
Own.
Who else lives there?
Jaleesa Crippen, who is my girlfriend, and my 2 older kids.
All right, well, hold on. Crippen, I think I can spell. Spell her first name?
Jaleesa.
Okay, and she's currently pregnant, you said. Is that right?
Correct.
With your child?
Correct.
All right, and you said 2 older children of yours live with you. What are their names?
My son Robert and my daughter Michaela.
How old is Robert?
11,
And how old is Michaela?
10.
Where do they attend school?
Northwest.
And did they spend part of their time with their mother?
I have custody of them. Their mother moved up north, and she just seen Michaela for 2 months probably, just the other day. So
All right, so the
I have
children live
100%
full
of
time.
the time.
Okay.
Correct.
You've told me that you have cerebral palsy, so I don't need to ask you about that, but do you have any other health or physical limitations?
No, I just have real bad anxiety.
Do you receive any treatment or medication for that?
One more time, please. It was breaking up. Sorry.
Sure, no problem. Is there a doctor that treats you for the anxiety?
No, I don't take anything right now because what my doctor had me on, I was sleeping a lot. So we're trying to figure out something that will work better.
All right, and who is that doctor?
It's through Center for Family Health. I can't remember because you got like 3 or 4 different doctors you can see, so you're not set to one doctor. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Center for Family Health, that's good enough. Any other mental or physical problems that you have?
No.
Tell me about your relationship with Laney.
My relationship with Laney was awesome. Like she never wanted to go nowhere without her dad. Like if I left the house, she would cry to me. You know, she made me promise her to never leave her. Every time I go to walk out the door, if I didn't take her with me, she would beg me not to leave her. And that has a lot to do with her mom walking in and out of her life because of the way she chose to live. You know, and we were inseparable, honestly.
There was a strong emotional bond between the two of you.
Very strong.
How did she show affection to you?
Always hugging and kissing me and want me to hold her and carry her and play, always playing around and wrestling around. And we always played and wrestled and had a good time.
So up until October 7th, who is it that attended to her medical appointments?
Me. Mom would attend also, but not every time.
So would you be at every medical appointment yourself?
No.
So there were some appointments that her mother would take her to and some that you would take her to?
Correct.
How about dental care? Who took care of that?
We both went to the appointment. The last one we went to.
I realize Laney's fairly young, but are there like hobbies or things that she particularly likes to do?
She loves cars, like looking at old cars or anything to do with a motor vehicle or dirt bikes or 4-wheelers, anything. She loves it. Loves being outside, going for walks, riding her bike, having me pull her on her wagon, She loves, like we'll be driving down the road and the car will burn out and she'll go, Dad, look, vroom, vroom, go fast.
Give me a moment, please. I want to make sure I ask you everything I'm supposed to. Are you able financially to care for her and to provide for her needs?
Yes. I've taken care of her since the day she was born.
Has Laney, when she's been with you, been involved in any church activities?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
We used to go every Sunday and every Wednesday to Ganson Baptist. She loved it. She loved the interaction with the kids. She loves making friends and talking and just getting along with everybody. She loves it.
When that was the case, were you living where you are now, or were you living closer to Ganson?
I was living on Page Ave at the time, and we attended a few times there, and then everything got shut down. So we haven't been able to,
Did Laney enjoy going to church?
Yes, very much so.
So has there ever been any domestic violence between you and Ms. Stepp?
She went to jail for domestic violence against me back in 2018, I believe.
Tell me about that incident.
It was one of the times that she had thought she wanted to come back and try to make things work and moved everything in. And her boyfriend at the time, Danny Wood, he had talked her into basically robbing my whole house, and she ended up leaving her things there, and she ended up coming back at a later date to get her things. And in the mix of that, she was trying to get her things, and I told her, not to come back, or to come back at a different time, because things were getting elevated, And so when I tried to ask her to leave or to turn her away, she swung on me and hit me, and in turn got arrested for it.
Was she ultimately prosecuted for that offense?
I'm not sure.
So you don't know if she was convicted of any?
No, I don't.
She did spend at least one night in jail?
Yes.
Has there ever been any other domestic violence between the two of you, either way?
Yeah, we fought and argued a lot, to be honest.
Any other time when the police were called?
She had called the police one time and said that I was refusing to let her leave my residence, which it was false. Everything was dropped. Nothing was ever come about of that.
Were you arrested?
No, sir. And they let me keep Laney. They took Laney from her and gave her to me.
When was that?
2019, I believe.
Okay, so you told me a little bit about this earlier. I want to probe a little more. On October 7th, the last day that you saw your daughter, you had suspicions that Ms. Stepp had used drugs in your bathroom?
Correct.
And tell me specifically what it is that made you suspect that she had used drugs in your bathroom.
There was some kind of substance like it wasn't powder, it was just like I don't know how to explain it. It was like a residue on my countertop in my bathroom. And so I asked her to do a drug test, and she said, fuck off, to be exact, and grabbed my daughter and ran to her car and got in her car and locked the door and then proceeded to back out and then come back and rolled her window down and says, get your fat ass bitch girlfriend out here pregnant or not, I'm beating her ass. Sorry for my language, but that's what she said. And then from that day forward, I never seen my daughter. I've talked to her a couple of times, but that's it.
So you said you talked to her a couple times. How did that come about?
Her birthday. Emily had told one of my family members that it was okay for me to call and talk to her.
So on her birthday, she was with one of your family members?
No, she was with Emily, but Emily had told one of my family members it was okay that I contact Laney to talk to her.
And she did let you talk to Laney on that day?
Correct. Video chat.
How did that go?
She loved it. She was so happy to see me and to see her brother and sister and her cousin. She acted shy at first, Laney, when she gets shy or nervous, she'll start twirling her hair, or she'll put her arm in front of her eyes to hold, to hide her face. So she was doing that for a second, but then she started asking Mom, can I go to Dad's? When can I go over there? So I know she misses me. She wants to see her brother and sister and stuff, And I text every day in the morning and at night telling her, please tell Laney Dad said, good morning. I hope she slept good. I love her. And then the same thing at night. I send a text every night.
And those texts you send to Ms. Stepp's phone?
I believe so.
All right, do you know anything about Ms. Stepp's current housing?
I don't.
Do you know anything about her physical or mental health?
I do not.
Do you know if she works?
I don't know at this time, no. I do
You
know.
told me that, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I do know. I don't know if this is something that she's been taken to the hospital before because she tried to commit suicide with my daughter in the home by taking a bunch of pills.
Do you know when that was?
Approximately, probably, I'd say 2 years ago, year and a half ago. She was living in Ashton Ridge at that time.
She was living where?
Ashton Ridge at the time.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you broke up just a little. How do you know about that incident?
She had called me from the hospital crying, and I actually hung up on her, and she called back.
So she's the one that told you about
Correct. And my sister.
it. And you said at the time she did that, Laney was actually in the house with her?
She was in the home along with 3 other children. I was on my way back from Bay City when I got the call.
So when she called you, she was calling from the hospital. Who was watching the kids?
She was at the home with Mandy Hammond, who she had lived with at the time.
All right.
And my
So
sister was
Mandy-
there.
I see. Did you end up coming back and taking Laney?
Yes, sir.
Has Emily told you about any other times when she tried to harm herself?
I had got a call one time, another time when she had Laney with her. She lived with Danny Wood on Ganson, and it was an officer at this time. He says, "You need to get here. Emily is unresponsive." For a minute and a half, she was unresponsive. She had flatlined right in front of the cops, and they said they had suspected she was under the influence. And that time she was taken to the hospital.
And you had to come and get Laney from her.
Correct.
So you've mentioned several times now during your testimony that Ms. Stepp has a drug problem. What do you know about her drug problem? What's her drug of choice?
Her drug of choice started with Vicodin, to be honest, before we even had Laney, and it just progressed from there. And that's why we ended up splitting up, to be honest, because I tried helping her and she didn't want the help, and she walked out the door, left Laney, and like I said, I tried staying by her side for 2 years, made sure she had clothes, something to eat, new shoes every day, made sure she was all right. And this is the kind of payback I get, and I just want to make sure that my daughter is taken care of, our daughter is taken care of correctly.
Do you use drugs?
I smoke marijuana.
Anything else?
No, sir. Never have.
Do you have any convictions for drug-related offenses?
No, sir.
Any alcohol-related offenses?
No, sir. I have a clean record.
Do you know if Ms. Stepp has any drug or alcohol?
I can't speak on that.
You just don't know one way or the other.
Right, correct.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to tell me, sir?
That'll be it.
Okay, Ms. Stepp, thank you. You've been very patient and not interrupted. Not interrupting. I appreciate that. Are there any questions you would like me to ask Mr. Digger?
As far as questions for David,
Yes.
I don't believe so.
Okay,
I would like
so now I'm going to hear from you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I need you to raise your right hand, please.
Okay.
You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Please state your full name.
Emily Diane Stepp.
Ms. Stepp, how old are you?
I will be 32 on Saturday.
Where do you currently live?
I would rather not say that with David on the phone. I don't
All
want
right,
him to
well,
know.
just tell me who you live with and what kind of home it is.
I live in an apartment, and I live with just me and Laney, my older daughter comes on the weekends and days that she doesn't have school.
So currently the only full-time residents of that apartment are you and Laney.
Correct.
And tell me about your older daughter. What is her name?
Her name's Lily.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Lily, Lilly.
How old is Lily?
She's almost 11.
How often does Lily visit you?
She comes on the weekends, and then on days that she doesn't have school and that I don't work, she's here with me as well.
So she lives most of the time, most of the week with her father?
Correct.
What is his name? What is Lily's father? What is
Michael.
Lily's father? Michael what?
Step.
Okay. Do you have any other children?
I don't.
Are you currently employed?
Yes.
Part-time, full-time?
I work, it's technically considered part-time, but I work full-time hours.
How much do you make per hour?
$11.50.
What type of work is it?
I work at a deli, and it's a deli gas station.
Do you acknowledge that up until October 7th, that Laney lived with Mr. Dingy the majority of the time?
That's false.
Tell me how it's false.
I would actually like to first start by saying that hopefully you can see through the manipulating and the narcissism that Mr. Dingy is displaying. I've been very patient with him for years, a long time. I've worked with him. I did have a drug problem. My dad passed away 3 years ago, and I did have a drug problem, and I fixed that myself with no support from David. I didn't ever not see my daughter because of it. I was always present in her life until he kept her from me, and this was after I had got clean. I've been clean in August. Will be 2 years. August 6th, 2019. I never put my kids in harm's way while I was
Back up
on drugs.
I want an answer to my question.
Okay.
I asked you, do you acknowledge that up until October 7th, your daughter spent a majority of the time, that means more than 50% of the time, living with her father?
She didn't. She didn't. She was only with him when I worked.
Hold on. Okay, so tell me how that was wrong.
Okay, so she would go to his house when I would work. As soon as I got out of work, I picked her up and she would be with me. On my days off, she was with me. She didn't spend but maybe 2 or 3 overnights with David every month. And I have a calendar with every date that I had Laney overnight. If I didn't pick her up for the night, he harassed me, called me names, show up in my house. I've sent you multiple messages from him of him harassing me and just being mean.
All right, well, we'll get to those. I just,
Okay.
So you dispute. In fact, even though he watched her while you worked, she spent most of her overnights with you.
Correct.
Tell me for how long a time period that existed prior to
But
October 7th of last year.
the entire time from, I started in March. I started at that job in March of last year, so I've been there a year. So it's been a year. And if
So
there was numerous times where he wouldn't watch her even while I worked, and I'd have to call in or find somebody else to watch her. So he's telling stories.
These are times when you asked him to watch her because you had to work, and he said he couldn't. You needed to find somebody else.
He just wouldn't respond or wouldn't show up to pick her up.
So, in her, let's say, her first 2 years, from the time she was born until she was 2 approximately, do you acknowledge that she lived with him all the time?
No, not at all.
So that's not true.
Not true at all.
And it's not true that you would come and go. Let me finish the question. You're telling me it's not true that you would come and go because you were dealing with a drug issue?
No, there's never a time where I was coming and going out of my daughter's life ever. And he kept her for 2 months. This is after I got clean. He kept her for 2 months, and his reasoning for that, and we did a show cause and all of that. His reasoning for that was that because I had a drug problem, but I had already addressed that issue. I had gotten clean. At that time, I had been clean for 3 or 4 months, and then he took her from me. And when he's with his girlfriend, which they've been together for 2 years, and I've had nothing but problems. When he's with her, he wants to make everything hard for me. And when he's not with her, he wants to work stuff out with me. He wants to be with me. He loves me. And he knows that I don't have a drug problem. And he's a totally different person when she's out of the picture. When she's back in the picture, I'm garbage. I'm no good parent. I don't do anything for my kids. And all of a sudden, I'm dealing with that again. And that's where we're at now, is because he got back with her. I don't care who he's with. I don't. I want him to be happy. I want him to succeed, and I want him to, be a good dad and do what's right. And like I said, I've worked with him. I've been very patient. I do what I'm supposed to do as a mother, and then some. And I get no support from him at all. I get, you're adulting, you're this and you're that. Go smoke a bubble. Stuff that you shouldn't say to somebody that's in recovery, for one. Two, if that was him in that position, I would support him. I would be there I would make sure he knows that, there's better for you out there. I don't understand how he thinks and why he thinks the way he does, but I've never been against him. Anytime that we've ever had an issue and it's dealing with his anger, which is very, very bad, I've tried to be there for him. I've tried to help him, and it got to the point where I couldn't do that anymore. I was tired. I was mentally exhausted from it. I've dealt with this for 6 years, and I want different for her. I don't want her around that. And now he's doing the same thing as he was with me.
So you admit that you haven't let him see his daughter since October 7th of last year.
It was October 12th. But yeah.
Well, whether it's the 7th or the 12th, you tell me why you're not letting him see his daughter.
Because he was acting erratically. That's the last day he saw her, and I attached a police report to your clerk. He broke my windshield with a screwdriver, and this is the day that he says that I was in his house. I never got out of my car that day. He came to my window, and he asked me if I I wanted another screwdriver incident, which the last time that happened was the day that he wouldn't let me leave his house that he was telling you about. He stabbed me in the neck, or tried to stab me in the neck with a screwdriver. He held me hostage with my phone, and I had to call the police on one of the kids' play phones, and it took them 45 minutes to get there. Now, at that time, I rolled my window up because I felt uncomfortable, and Laney was already in my car, in her car seat, buckled in. I rolled my window up. He put his arm in my car, tried to grab my shirt, and then got his arm out of the car and smashed my windshield with a screwdriver in his hand. Then his girlfriend, who was inside, poked her head out the window and started talking. And I was like, "Okay, you're pregnant," because she's the one that initiated trying to fight me. And I said, "You're pregnant, dude. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, I'm just not." She said, "My face ain't pregnant," were her exact words. And then she came out of the house, picked up a shovel, which I have sent video and a picture of both of them doing all of this, and proceeded to beat my car with a shovel. I backed out and I left, and I have not given her to him since. Then 2 days after that, both of them and two other people and a bunch of children showed up at my apartment after I got out of work, tried jumping me, banging on my door, woke every kid in the house up. I seen that it was them. I left. I called the police. I waited down the street for the police to get there. When I got there, they were still sitting there waiting for me. And then that's the last time
What date was that?
that was October 14th, and then the PPO was served on the 15th, I believe.
So on the 14th, who is it that was at your house creating the commotion?
It was him, Jaleesa, two of the kids. I don't know if it was his two or his nephew or who it was. And then I believe his sister and her boyfriend were there. A car blocked me in, tried to make it so I couldn't get out of the apartment complex to leave. And then he came up to my window, tried breaking my window in my car, and my daughter was screaming the entire time. Both incidences that he's acted like this, she's been there screaming for him to stop. She loves her dad. I will not deny that. She loves him, but she's afraid. He puts her through so much unnecessary stress and drama with his life. He doesn't have any care in the world about his anger and how his anger affects his children. And it shows, because my daughter she's scared. And I hate to say that, but she's terrified. I asked her yesterday, "Do you want to go see Dad tomorrow?" Because I knew that there was a possibility that she would have to go, and she was scared, Your Honor. She was scared. And I don't want to have to worry about her. And he's got a lot of stuff going on over there. And he's told me more than one time of people, the same guy that pulled the gun when he wasn't driving in front of me was the same guy that busted his door down with a gun while my daughter was there. He's told me that story, and so is my daughter. And a 4-year-old telling me a story about a gun being pulled on her dad is not okay with me. And I don't think it would be okay with anybody else either.
All right, you submitted a number of items, and I want to go through those and make sure I understand.
Okay.
One is, it says Blackman Township at the top. It's a picture taken from, looks like the driver's seat of a vehicle, of a woman holding some kind of an implement. And then a man walking away with a hooded sweatshirt. You know which picture I'm referring to?
Yep, that's the day that he said that I refused the drug test, which I never got out of my vehicle. I never went into his car, into his house. That's the day that he broke my windshield. That's the shovel in her hand that she used to beat my car with. That's his girlfriend. That's him.
Okay.
I'm
so that's him. That's his back that I'm looking at, walking away from the vehicle?
Correct.
Okay. And is that his home off to the left?
It is. And his home
Okay.
on the left, that's his neighbor. His is on the right. I don't know if you see his house in the picture, but in the left-hand side, the
No,
house that you see, that's his house.
Okay, no, I can't see the other house. Okay, so then there's a whole bunch of text messages. There aren't any dates on them, so I have them in the order that they were sent in. At the top of the first page that I have, it says 9:19 p.m. It says maybe David, and then there are some word balloons on the left-hand side of the page. Let's see, just let him know if I make it past the night, I'm blowing his F face and I am dragging his face up and down the cement so he's not breathing. And I'm making sure you watch me. Whatever happens to me is on you. I'm done. I've been asking for help for many months now and nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to help. I cannot live life anymore. See who's crying in the air, dumb. I really am. Eagles crying anytime. I really am. Everybody can take. I'm just finding. I'm pulling. Guess what I'm about to. So I just read all of that to you. Whose words are those?
That was David, and that was because he found out I was talking to Justin. If that
Well,
doesn't
hold
tell you
on.
that he's going, then I
Oh,
don't know what
hold
does.
on. Oh, hold on. Do you know when this was?
Yeah, I thought the dates showed. It's iPhone, so I can go back and look.
Would you do that, please? All this says
This
is
was a couple days before all of the violence occurred. That was why this all is all of the same incident pretty much. Like it happened over a week's period of time.
okay.
And then I was like,
All right, so this is reasonably close to the incident that happened at his house with the shovel and the screwdriver, etc.
within days, yes.
Okay. So what he's talking to you about here, the person he's referring to is the man that you were seeing?
Correct.
Who is that?
His name was Justin File.
Spell the last name.
File.
File, okay. And how long have you known Justin File?
For some years, I would say 6 years. Probably about the same amount of time I've known David.
Was he a friend of David at one time?
Yeah.
And around this time period, last fall, September, October, you had started to see Justin or to date Justin?
Yes.
And Mr. Dingy found out about that and was upset about it.
That's correct.
Okay. So I understand that what he's saying here are threats to beat Justin up. Is that how you interpret them?
Yeah, those ones, yeah.
All right. Do you know what he's talking about when he says, I've been asking for help for many months now and nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to help. I cannot live life anymore.
Yeah, I do know what he's talking about. He's depressed. He has anxiety. He does need help. And that was my whole point, is that I don't want to keep her from him. I want him to be better. I want him to not have you know, my daughter around the anger. And when he gets anxious and when he gets mad, he gets so angry that he blacks out and he doesn't understand what he's doing. And it's dangerous. Somebody's going to get hurt one day. There was a time that he was going to hang himself, had a rope hanging from his garage with his children right there, and was talking about hanging himself. His brother or his sister and her boyfriend, which was Justin at the time, had to go over there and get the children from him. And I didn't even hear about it until weeks later. Nobody told me. In some of the messages, he's talking about how much he loves me, how much he wants to be with me. And I just, I can't do it anymore. I couldn't do it. And I asked him, we don't have to do this in court. We can do it out of court. I will support you. I just want you to, I wanted him to get the anger management. I wanted him to get the counseling. I wanted him to do all of that already. And I begged him to do all of that. I didn't want to have to do this. I didn't. This has been hard for me. This hasn't been easy. I don't have a whole lot of help when it comes to Laney. He was pretty much, the one that babysat while I worked. But her safety is number one to me, and I'm not going to put her safety at risk just because I need his help. I'm just not. Because like I said, one day, if something doesn't change, something bad is going to happen. And I really, really believe that with my whole heart.
Okay.
I'm not angry, bitter.
The next page of text messages says 9:24 p.m. Was this right the same evening as the page that I just read?
What does the message say?
Well, I read you the text messages that said they were sent at 9:19 p.m.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, then
And
yeah, it would have been the same night.
Okay, so 9:24 p.m. the same night. On this page, it looks like it's a message, I'm guessing, from you on the right-hand side. Didn't nobody say that you're acting foolish, grow up? Is that you?
That's me, and yeah, I'm looking at the same messages right now. Actual, like, from our conversations. Yeah, that was me that said that.
All right, and then he says, I'll tell you right now, I will end up in prison. It says, on God, it probably means, oh God, stop acting foolish. And then he says, that must be Justin texting. Do you understand? He's suggesting Justin has your phone and he's the one that's actually sending the messages instead of you?
Yeah, he thinks so, but it wasn't me.
Okay.
Sure, it wasn't him.
These were all you. All right. So the next page, he says, I am done. I'm at the end of my rope. I've been trying to tell people, but guess what? I'm going to prison because we're going out with an F blaze of glory. I promise you, I, my daughter, on my kids, and everything I love. Did you understand? He was threatening some act of violence that would perhaps result in his death or going to prison?
Yeah, he was informing me that he was either gonna do something to himself or to me, and that's why that's why we're here. I'm not gonna have my daughter around it. I just won't. And then he ended up putting.
Then I see a picture of a baseball bat that he sent you, correct?
Yeah, that's his weapon that he was gonna use.
All right, and you understood this to be a threat to beat up Justin?
Correct. Justin or he wasn't just after Justin.
Justin or who?
Myself.
All right. I'm looking through these. I don't have to ask about the things that are obvious. I just want to make sure that if it's not obvious, if you can explain it to me. So this is all going on that same evening. Is this the last, the evening that, after which you withheld Laney from him?
It wasn't then. This was a little bit before that, and he hadn't gotten physical at that point. It was just him running his mouth. It wasn't until about a week later that I started keeping her because he continued to make the threat. Then he started to get physical as well. He broke my windshield. That's when his girlfriend hit my car with the shovel. That's when he showed up at my house.
All
It
right.
started becoming more and more.
I got you. I understand now. So what you're saying is this picture that does have a date, October 12th, 2020, 5 p.m., that we discussed earlier, actually came after this series of text messages that I'm reading.
Correct. And then the actual date I'm looking at right now on my actual message thread was October 4th from that conversation that you just read. So that whole time period I was dealing with this, and I waited and I waited and I waited, and I kept telling him, like, you need to stop. This is stupid. I'm not dealing with this anymore. And he kept continuing to do the same stuff. Kept harassing me. I actually had to leave town. I left town for a week because he was harassing me so bad. And I still kept telling him, I need you to leave me alone. I'm not doing this with you. You have a girlfriend. You know, you guys can do your thing over there and let me do my thing. We're not together. So I don't have to deal with this. Still continued to, he ignored my asking him, and he wouldn't. Like I said, Your Honor, I was patient. I was very, very, very patient, and I've been nothing but patient with him for years. I've had to deal with this. If he's not getting his way 100%, he's mad, and he's going to make everybody pay. And I'm tired. It was emotionally draining, and I finally just got to the point where I couldn't do it no more, and I got to TPO, and my life has been peaceful. Didn't have to deal with the threats, but I didn't have to deal with him driving by my work, or coming to my house. I haven't had to deal with that, and it's been amazing. But I don't know why he's lying about all the other stuff, because he's never once asked me to take a drug test. He's actually, admitted, and I sent those messages to you as well, that he doesn't think I'm on drugs. And I've worked very hard, very, very hard to stay clean. And I've done that among all this other shit. I'm sorry about my language. I've done it. I've with no support from him, with no support from pretty much anybody. I've done this on my own. And I'm proud of myself. I have my own house. I have my own car. I work. I pay all my bills. When I was on drugs, I was in a shelter. I didn't have a vehicle. I didn't have anything. And I'm proud of myself. And I wish he could see that, I'm a different person now. But he doesn't. He only wants to live in the past. And he wants me to be that shelter girl. He wants me to be the girl with no job, the girl that's, pretty much just done with life. That's what he wants from me. And he doesn't, if he sees me happy and succeeding, this is what I'm dealing with. The threats, the violence. And it's not fair to me. It's not fair to Laney. It's not fair to David or Jaleesa. It's not fair to anybody that we have to deal with this.
Give me a moment. I want to look at the police reports that you submitted.
Okay.
So one looks like an incident on November 8th, which would have been after all these emails and the time that you were over there and they were beating on your vehicle, correct?
Correct.
This report says something about a complaint from David
Yeah, we both called the cops at the same time. They ended up sending me the police report from his version of the story. I mean, it's pretty much the
Why?
same.
So the first report is his version that you were following him, honking the horn. Your boyfriend Justin was in the car and had a felony warrant. And you claimed that he was in front of you and was brake checking you. So slamming on his brakes in front of you.
Yeah, he slammed them on so hard that the brakes were smoking. I didn't even know it was him at that point until the cops came to my house after I had called them. I didn't know it was David yet until they told me that it was. I had suspected that it was him, but I didn't know for sure. Because we were right around the corner.
All right, and the other police report, or the second police report, describes the incident at his house that you've already told me about that's in the picture, correct?
Correct, yeah.
All right, and then let's see, the last one. Looks like your complaint that he and friends were following you home and at your house, correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay, so tell me about your relationship with Laney.
My relationship with Laney it's good. She is attached to me constantly. She doesn't know any other, motherly figure other than me, of course, and she sleeps with me every night. She is constantly, wanting to be next to me. If I'm home, she's on my hip. I mean, she loves her mommy. She's a mommy's girl for sure.
Is at your home, does Laney have any involvement with church?
She does not have any involvement with church, period. He doesn't take her to church, never has. I don't know why he said that. I have taken her to like Christmas Eve services here and there, but as far as church, no, we've never gone to church. And that's a complete lie on his side. I don't know why he said that.
Are you still dating Justin Pyle?
No,
Are you dating anyone?
no, not right now. We actually broke up because there was too much drama. There was too much going on. Obviously, I'm not allowed to be happy. Apparently, if I'm happy, then that means that I have to deal with all of this. That's what it means when I'm happy.
What is it that you would like the court to order?
At this time, I don't think he's mentally stable to have her full like he was having her. I don't think she's safe or any of his kids, honestly. But I want him to right now do what he has to do to mentally fix his mindset, and he needs to do what he has to do to control his anger. He's a ticking time bomb, Your Honor, and one day somebody is going to get hurt. And I pray to God every day that it's not my daughter. But I can't control what he does over at his house, unfortunately. The only thing I can control is how, I raise her and how I react. And I'm afraid for her. I really am, between him and his girlfriend fighting and getting the cops involved. And I mean, his girlfriend, right before this all happened, tried running him over in his own driveway with her car with my daughter there. And it's just unsafe. And I hate to feel like this. I really hate this. I hate that it's come to this. I do. And I want him to be able to be a dad and be in his daughter's life, because honestly, I need the break too, but she's not, it's not safe. His
let me
attitude.
let me ask you, and as I read the text messages and the behaviors that were being exhibited back in October, it certainly sounds like Mr. Dingy was having a difficult time and was not handling the situation well. But today he sounds pretty calm. How do you explain that?
Weird. That's him. He's very manipulative. He can manipulate anybody into believing anything. That's why I've not been here yet, because he's very good at making somebody believe that he's this wonderful person, and he can be a great person. But when he's mad, that's the David that you get. And I don't know if you heard the voice clip that I attached to that as well, but you can hear the anger in his voice. You can hear him. You can hear it, and you can almost feel it. That makes the hair on my arms stand up. That's how.
Right. Well, let me thank you for reminding me of the voice clips. My intention is to play those so that they're on the record today. Let me open them up before I play that. I want to make sure I understand what I'm looking at. Give me a moment. You sent that to me yesterday, right? All right, let me just find it. I just wanted to make sure I'm looking in the right place. No, I know I got it. I just want to make sure I'm looking in the right place. There it is. Okay, there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 audio messages. I'm going to, if they'll play from here, I'll play them. Oh, it says I got to save it to disk first. Were you able to play right from the email?
I was, yeah. You should just pull up like a Windows Media Player.
I'm going to save the links somewhere, and then I will try to open them from there. Let's see. Okay. Let's try these. Well, media player, is that what you use? I don't know why it's not letting me do what you did, but let's see if I can find what's the full name for the media player?
Windows Media Player.
Don't see it there either, unless it's under Window Accessories. Media player, there it is. Recommended settings. Okay, let's go to downloads. How do I get to my downloads? Libraries, no. It doesn't show me much over here.
Try going back to the link and hitting it again.
I did.
And it's still not working.
It wouldn't work. I mean, I could try that here. Go to downloads. Step versus Dendy. Well, here's one right there. What did I get?
Click that link there.
This one?
Yeah.
So that didn't work. Let's go back here. These others came in a different format. Let me try them.
Yeah. Try that. Yeah. Click VLC Media Player.
Talking about Justin Stoll, worried about fucking quitting dope. Well, I'm gonna bring Scott with me too, and Alan. We're all coming to raid that bitch, and I'm gonna tell you and have him tell you right to his face, to your face, that Justin was bringing the dope, which you already know because you fucking dope fiend ass bitches do it 24/7. He's the one bringing the dope. I can take you right to where it goes and where it comes from. I'll shut this whole fucking show down. Believe me.
All right. So, misstep. Sorry for the delay, but I was finally able to get it to play. That is Mr. Dingy speaking.
That's one of them, yeah.
Right. And when was this? Was this back in that September, October timeframe?
This was during that time frame. That was right before the PPO was served, so probably the 12th, I believe. Yeah, it was the same day that the cops came for the first incident when he broke my windshield.
All right.
It was that day.
Let me try the next one.
That's all right. I'll see you in public, bitch. Both of you, and I'll get my daughter and smash you hoes.
Again, that was Mr. Dingy.
That was the same day. Yeah, these all came at around the same time.
Okay. Let me try the next one.
That's the best place for you at 6 feet under with your dad. You guys will die the same way.
Do you know what he's referring to there?
From my understanding, it was that he was going to kill me. My dad's been dead for 3 years now, so I mean.
What did your father die of?
He had kidney failure was what he ended up passing away from. I don't know what that part's about, but just
All
for
right.
him to
And
even
for
say
some
that
reason,
just shows
I
what kind
wasn't
of
able to
person he
play
is.
I wasn't able to play the first one, but I'm going to try one other step.
That's the important one, so I would really hope that you can play that one.
All right. I think I was able to get it here. Let me try it. Took me back to the. Let's try this. Let's try copy. Oh, okay.
STD, right? You're laying next to the STD that's done fucked everything in Jackson, you stupid, silly fucking hoe. Call Blackman, call Jackson Sheriff, call State. You better call your fucking brother in Mason that's a bitch ass cop, because even his fucking ass ain't gonna save you, you silly ass hoe.
All right, and again, that was back in the same time frame around the October incidents.
Correct.
Anything else that you want to tell me?
That's pretty much it. I mean, that's it.
Okay, Mr. Dingy, thank you for your patience. Are there some questions you'd like me to ask Ms. Stepp?
Can I speak for just a second, please, if allowed?
Well, here's, you will get another chance to testify if that's what you're asking me. But right now, I just wanted to know if you had any more, if you have any questions that you would like me to ask her.
Not at this time.
All right, so you understand you're still under oath, and you may speak now and respond to whatever it is that she testified to that you want to address.
Okay. I do not deny at that time that I sent those messages. I was at a very, very, very bad place in my life at that time. Justin has been my best friend for almost 8 years. He was on the streets living from garage to garage. He come to me crying the day before he got with Emily, stating that he had nowhere to live. This and that, didn't have nothing to eat. I gave him the food, literally the sub I was eating, out of my mouth to him. He then stated he needed a pack of cigarettes and a beer. I gave him the last $30 out of my pocket. So all those messages, yes, were for Justin, and I apologize for anything I ever said. I do apologize. Furthermore, a couple of those messages were from Justin and Alan, or Adam, which is Mandy Hammond's boyfriend, calling me a crippled AB. They're gonna see me. So then that's why I responded the way I did. I ended up having to block them on Facebook and everything because they were calling me everything they could, trying to get me agitated.
So I noticed that in the sheaf of papers that was handed to me, I did get one submission from you, and it is a exchange of text messages and then a photograph of something. What is that?
Drugs.
So I see a pack of Marlboros partially covered with a tray.
It's a scale.
A scale. And what am I seeing on that scale? Pardon my ignorance, but I don't recognize that stuff.
It's marijuana there, but in the text messages, the Justin states that they are on other stuff. Whoop whoop, if you know what I mean. We can deliver.
So this is a text exchange between you and Justin?
No, between Brian Gowdy and Justin File. Just a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, actually.
So what does this have to do with Ms. Stepp?
That all this time I'm trying to say that there's some kind of drug use around our daughter, and that proves it right there.
Well, it may prove that Justin is around drugs, but she's testified she's not dating him anymore.
Okay, on her birthday, she said, "Dad, can Justin drop me off?" Right out of her own words, and Mom says, "No, Justin can't do that."
Whose birthday?
Laney, my daughter Laney. She stated
And
that
that was
several
when?
times.
And that was when?
On her birthday, and she's also stayed at a couple more times talking on the
I'm
phone to her.
sorry, Mr. Dingy, what I'm asking you, I know you told me what her birthday
Sorry.
is. I don't remember. When is her
What?
birthday?
127.
Thank you. So this is from just this past January. It's from, I'm sorry, as recently as January, you know that Justin was still in the picture.
Correct.
And you also know from this text message that you got from a friend that Justin is doing, himself is involved in drugs.
Correct.
All right. I understand why you submitted it. Was there anything else you wanted to address?
That's it. Oh, I do want to say one more thing, please, if you allow me.
Go ahead.
I have attended anger management classes, and I do counseling every Thursday at Lifeways, once a week.
Tell me a little more about that. Who do you see at Lifeways?
Man, I have a bad memory, sir. To be honest, I can't remember. It's he's African American. I have to get his name at a later date, but I go there 10:30 every Thursday morning.
And how long have you been going to Lifeways?
2 months.
And the therapy that you're getting there is to help you to deal with your anger?
For just somebody to talk to. That's all. When I say that, like, I need help, I just want somebody to sit there and listen to what I have to say. That's all that means. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever listened to what I have to say. That's what that was getting at from earlier. You know what I mean?
So he's a counselor.
Correct.
You've been seeing him weekly for the last 2 months.
Correct.
And are, in the context of dealing with him, are you getting counseling regarding anger management?
I did 12 weeks of anger management, paid for it myself. Every class.
All right, where was that?
Right there next to Lifeways, there's a little building right there.
When was that?
Actually, I did that. I mean, it's probably been about 1.5 years now, but I completed. I'll have to look for the certificate, but I haven't.
Well, you acknowledge you were pretty angry in those voice messages that I heard.
Correct, but no, it was just because he was my best friend. It was all for him. It was foolish. I should have never done it. I understand that, you know, like I said, it was a heat of the moment over anger, stupidity, you know.
Was that also what was going on when you and your girlfriend attacked Ms. Stepp's car?
I never attacked her car. We never attacked her car. Did she pick up a shovel because she threatened to smash her pregnant face? Yeah. Yes.
Well, let me ask you about that incident. Clearly, Ms. Stepp is in her car. You acknowledge that your daughter was in the car with her.
Correct.
All right. But you deny that you did anything to attack the vehicle. You didn't come after it with a screwdriver. Your girlfriend, pardon me, I lost her name, didn't come after the vehicle and beat it with a shovel?
That's incorrect. No, I tried to go to the vehicle to open the rear door where my daughter was at because she was her mother, Emily, was acting foolish. She had then locked the door, pulled farther towards the house. Then I, in turn, turned around and looked. I looked at her before the picture you're talking about. I had turned around after I had told her, please back out before something happens. Just leave. I don't want the confrontation. She didn't listen. She pulled all the way up to my bedroom window, literally.
So you deny that the incident happened the way Ms. Stepp described?
Correct.
And why is it your girlfriend had a shovel?
Because she felt her life was threatened or about to be threatened. And she's pregnant with my child. Nonetheless,
How was she threatened if Ms. Stepp was actually in the vehicle and she's the one that was outside?
she was in the yard threatening Jaleesa in her vehicle with the window down. I mean, yes, she was still in her vehicle, but she was still threatening.
Ms. Stepp, anything further from you?
Other than that's completely false on his part, no, everything I said was true. Nothing. I mean, I do agree he did go to anger management years ago. Obviously, it didn't help much. I don't believe that he's doing counseling, and if he is, great. I'm glad, but I would like to see some actual time before I really believe that he's changed, because this, like I said, has been years of him acting like this, and he will go through a phase where right now he wants Laney back. He wants what he wants, so he's gonna act like everything's good. He's cured, miraculously cured, and not crazy anymore. And then as soon as he's mad again, the same Dave is gonna come out. The same anger and the same hatred and all of that. It's all gonna come back out. And I don't believe for 1 minute that he's changed. I don't. That's part of
All
his
right,
game. He manipulates.
So here's what I'm going to do. Mr. Dingy, what I want you to do is to contact your counselor.
Okay.
I want you to sign a release, and the counselor will have a release
Okay.
authorizing your counselor to send me his notes of his conversations with you. And if he is able to do a report, his assessment as to whether or not he believes you can safely parent your daughter.
Okay.
So I want you to do that right away. Submit that to the court. And if it's necessary for me to take more testimony, I will contact you and we'll set a date to finish this up. And it'll be very soon.
Okay.
I'm also going to follow up with the visitation center to find out what's going on over there. It could be that we gave you a bad phone number. And
Okay.
if that happened, I am very sorry. I am going to make whatever arrangements I can to make sure you get to see your daughter in this setting. And then I'll decide once I hear from your therapist and what further steps to take. Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor. Your
Yes,
Honor.
ma'am.
I actually spoke with the visitation center. There's a waiting list. They said that they don't know when they'll be able to get us in. I would be willing to have visitation with somebody other than them at some point, but I don't want any problems with him, and I can't stress that enough. That's the only reason I didn't want to have his family involved. As far as somebody else, I don't know who else I would use, and that's the only reason I haven't brought that up to him yet. None of my family or friends wants anything to do with it, because
there is another option available. The problem is there's a cost associated with it.
How much is it?
They charge, I believe it's $50 for a 1 hour visit.
Okay, I'll pay whatever it takes to see my daughter. I'll pay it.
All right, well, here's what I'll do then. I will send out a revised order. Actually, I prefer this place over the Family Visitation Center because they will actually give me feedback.
Okay.
They will
Awesome.
give me information as to how the visit went, whether they have any concerns, whether they believe that supervised visits are necessary. So while I'm waiting on the information from your therapist, Mr. Dingy, I will make sure that that order gets entered.
Thank
We'll
you.
make sure a copy to both of you. It'll have instructions for how to connect with the center. Ms. Stepp, I think in fairness, since you're the one that's withholding your daughter, you need to share in that expense.
I mean, I can do that too. Yeah, I guess that's fine.
I'm
have a lot of bills.
gonna order that I'm gonna order that it be split equally, okay? All right, you'll be seeing that very, very shortly. Ma'am, I know you did not want to disclose your address, but do we have your current address on file?
I changed it at front of the court. I have not received any paperwork like in the mail. Since this has started going on, it's been getting returned to you guys, but I've called them and both times they've said that the address is correct. So, I don't know what else I can do about that.
Hold on a minute, hold on. I just noticed in the file, we did get something returned to us. Okay, it was.
I can email it to your clerk if you would like me to, my address.
Yeah, why don't you do that? We'll make sure it goes to the right place. The address we have on file is on West Michigan Avenue.
Yeah, that's the shelter from last year. I don't know why that's on there still.
Well, here's, and people don't understand this. Whenever you change your address, you have to change it both with the friend of the court and with the court here. And if you don't do
Okay.
that, so if you send your address to Peter, you've got his email address, we'll make sure it gets updated and it gets recorded in a way that's non-public, so it's not shared with Mr. Dingy.
Okay. I will do that as soon as I get off.
All right, Mr. Dingy, the sooner you get that information back into me, the sooner I can move forward and make a decision here.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you both. I do appreciate both of you following the rules today, not interrupting each other, even though it's clear you are vastly apart in terms of how you view the situation. I want to thank you for that today. It makes my job a lot easier. So have a good day. You'll be hearing from us very soon.